Thanks, Ciarán Corla. Taoiseach, the government has been engaged in a war on what is left of neutrality since Putin's invasion of Ukraine. You've slightly changed tack in the course of that. You started out with a full frontal attack, saying we need to have a discussion about neutrality. It's a policy matter. It can be changed at any time. You met the reality of public opinion, which didn't shift, despite a significant offensive in the media. And so instead you have repackaged it, where just neutrality is to be left without any content whatsoever, where the triple lock is to be removed. Micheál Martin was correct in 2013 when he said that the triple lock is, quote, at the core of our neutrality. He was also correct when he described the attempt to undermine it as, quote, an out-of-touch ideological obsession on the part of Fine Gael. Unfortunately, he has now adopted that obsession. The question for you is, if the triple lock was gone tomorrow, what military missions do you want to send troops on that you cannot currently send them on? Because Micheál Martin says he wants to do it all within the UN Charter. Well, then that means authorised by the Security Council. What missions can you not currently send troops on that you want to send troops on? In my opinion, I listened to hear the answer, but it will be EU-led missions without UN Security Council approval, i.e. outside international law, and US NATO-led missions, i.e. the likes of the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan.
On the issue of the triple lock, which obviously isn't really covered by this question, but the issue of the triple lock anyway. I mean, let's be very clear here, because nobody here has seen the legislative proposals yet. And I do think it's really important, before we start to demonise each other or put each other in ideological camps, that we actually have an opportunity to debate and consider the outcomes of the Consultative Forum on International Security Policy in June 2023. I know some people didn't wish to see that happen, others. Well, fair play to you. But there was a number of people who did contribute to a very important discussion about security and defence, and I think they deserve to be heard. And the issue of the triple lock did come up at that, and it did highlight the need to revisit triple lock requirements. As such, one of the key outcomes of the forum was the need for a new process to replace the current system underpinning the deployment of Irish troops abroad, which does effectively allow UN Security Council members to bind Ireland's hands in international engagements through the exercise of a veto, or indeed the threat of same. And again, anyone who watches the operation of the UN Security Council knows that often the threat of a veto can be enough to stymie the mandate of a peacekeeping operation. But I do want to say this: any legislative proposals we bring forward in this House will continue to require government and Dáil approval for the dispatch of Defence Force personnel to take part in peacekeeping. Ireland's traditional position on military neutrality will not change, and this is characterised by Ireland's non-participation in any military alliance or any common or mutual defence agreements. So making the changes proposed will simply remove the veto power of the Security Council members over Ireland's international engagement. We'll also try and address some other issues as well, and I may not have time to go into all of them. There'll be plenty of time in this House to consider proposals. But we do need, for example, when we go to provide security support to Irish embassies abroad, it is important that we have an ability to be able to provide that support, and the deployment of military personnel overseas for this purpose was not deemed to be covered under current legislation. That's a challenge that the government faces. We all want to support, and I know we're united in this, we all want to support our diplomats and our embassies abroad. Equally, there's an issue currently around the number of troops that can be deployed. Currently, Ciarán Corla, the deployment overseas of a Defence Force contingent greater than 12 armed triggers the triple lock. But actually, if you look at a number of the traditional peacekeeping activities that we're involved in this country, including the UNDOF and UNIFIL, often the platoon size could be in the region of 30 and could even rise to 50. So a number of issues we need to tease out in relation to this. But the number at the moment is 12.
They meet the triple lock. They achieve the triple lock.
Yeah, but I'm pointing out. Sorry.